Students, next section 80 GG deduction in respect of house rent paid. So this is deductions in respect of house rent paid. Suppose you are staying in a rented house, for that you are paying monthly rent. You can claim that rent as deduction under section 80 GG. Okay, listen, once again repeat. Those who are staying in a rented house, okay, every month they are paying rent. Okay, for that rent they are eligible to claim section 80 GG. Okay, this is not only for salary employee, even those who are doing business, they are also eligible section 80 GG. Only one condition: if salary employee received house rent allowance, then they are not eligible to claim section 80 GG. So salary employee does not receive any house rent allowance HRA, then they can claim. Suppose if an employee receives HRA, then they are not eligible to claim section 80 GG. Okay, so deduction in respect of house rent paid to whom are allowed. This section is only for individual. Amount of deduction: 25% of adjusted gross total income, rupees 5,000 per month. Then rent paid minus 10% of adjusted gross total income, whichever is less, as allowed as deduction. So least of the three allowed as deduction under section 80 GG. Okay. What is adjusted gross total income? See, certain conditions is there. Listen, certain conditions we will discuss next point. What is adjusted gross total income? Adjusted gross total income means gross total income minus income tax rate special rate. Income tax rate special rate. What is special rate? Long term capital gain 20%, short term capital gain account of listed shares 15%, then cash income 30%. So these are the special rate. So any income which is included in the gross total income, which is tax rate special rate, say long term capital gain or short term capital gain, so you have to deduct from gross total income. So gross total income minus income tax rate special rate minus all deductions except 80 GG. All deductions except 80 GG. That will give adjusted gross total income. For that, put 25% adjusted gross total income, then 5,000 per month, rent paid, actual rent paid minus 10% of adjusted gross total income. Whichever is less is allowed as deduction. Okay, now we are going to take up conditions. Conditions for 80 GG. Deduction under this section is not available for salaried employee who receive HRA. Just now I told you that if in case of salaried employee they are receiving HRA, they are not eligible. Suppose if any salaried employee does not receive any HRA, then they can claim deduction under section 80 GG. Second one, the assessee or his spouse or his minor child should not own any residential house at the place where the assessee employed or where he carries on his business. For example, Mr. X working in Chennai. Okay, in Chennai, either assessee himself or his spouse or his minor child should not own any residential property. Very important. Okay, so where you are employed or doing business in that area, either yourself, that is assessee himself or his spouse or his minor child does not own any residential property. And third important point, the assessee should not own any self-occupied property in India. The assessee should not own any self-occupied property in India. Okay, of course, see Mr. X having a property, they are let out. Okay, then it's not an issue. Suppose if it is self-occupied property, say in Mumbai, okay, is residing in Chennai, paying rent, then he cannot claim section 80 GG because the assessee owns self-occupied property in Mumbai. Thereby, three conditions very important. Number one, if you receive HRA, you cannot claim section 80 GG. Number 2, if assessee himself or spouse is minor child, does not have any residential property in which house at the place where the assessee employed or doing business. Third one, the assessee should not occupy any self-occupied property in India. That's all. Then additional question will not be defined. This is section 80GG. Next is 80GGB and GGC. This is very important, both section 80GGB, GGC. Deduction in respect of contribution made by Indian company, contribution made by companies to any political party or an electoral trust. Electoral trust is nothing but a trust maintained by the political party. So either you can directly give a donation to contribution, nothing but donation. So contribution to political party or electoral trust, they can claim as 100% deduction. Okay, to whom available? Section 80GGB. See, the thing is 80GGB, GGC, both are same. Slight difference. 80GGB allowed only for Indian companies. 80GGC other than Indian companies. For individual HUF, they contribute to the political party, they can claim 80GGC. Suppose if it is Indian company, they can claim 80GGB. Okay, so 80GGB, to whom available Indian company, amount of deductions, 100% of contribution made, allowed as deduction. Note, no deductions if made, no deductions if donations are in cash. Listen carefully, if you give any by way of cash, you cannot claim. So in order to claim the benefit of section 80GGB or GGC as the case may be, you have to give either check or DD, or even you can transfer, not an issue. But if you given donation by way of cash, then you cannot claim this section 80GGB or GGC. This is also same section. The deduction in respect of contribution made by any person, okay, to any political party or electoral trust, to whom available, any assessee. Listen carefully, any assessee other than Indian company. Why other than Indian company? Because Indian company claim section 80GGB. Amount of deductions 100% of contribution. Note same, no deduction if donations are made by way of cash. Any doubt? You will take some later. Okay. Sorry, no? Next section, deduction in respect of new employment. Deduction in respect of new employment. Section 80JJAA. This is also important section. See, this is to encourage the company to start up or to expand the business. Repeat. This section is nothing but, see, government gives some deductions. If you pay salary or emoluments to workers, you can claim as deduction. Of course, while preparing income and expenditure or while preparing profit and loss account, salary paid already you claim as deduction. Do you remember that the name of profit and loss account? See, by gross profit, okay, to salary, to rent, etc. In salary, you total 100% of the salary you claim as deduction. Not only 100%, even more than 100% you can claim. So, deduction in respect of new employment, to whom available, all assessee, to whom section 44AB. To whom section 44AB. What is 44AB? You know very well. That is tax audit. Turnover exceeding 1 crore. A company's turnover exceeding 1 crore. Okay, for this section is applicable only for tax audit companies, not for small companies, little bit big companies. Okay, in order to expand their business. Okay, so amount of deductions 30% of additional employee cost. Additional employee cost. 30% of additional employee cost. What is additional employee cost? I will tell. Period of deductions 3 assessment years. 3 assessment years. Okay. Who is additional employee? Who is additional employee? An employee who is newly employed during the previous year. An employee newly employed. Newly employed That is, in our previous year 2019-20. In 2019-20, how many of the employee you appointed? How many of you appointed as employee? Okay, for example, say 50. Okay, they are getting say 20,000 rupees, for example, salary. 50 into 20,000, 10 lakhs. So these 10 lakhs you already claimed as 2 salary paid in profit and loss account. Apart from 10 lakhs, you can claim 30% of 10 lakhs. Not only for 1 year. You can period of deduction is 3 assessment year. You can claim 3 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 3 lakhs. Every year you can claim. Listen carefully. How much you paid by way of salary? That salary you can claim 30% as deduction. So it means you are going to claim. See, if you spend 10 lakhs, you are deduct not only 10 lakhs, 13 lakhs you can claim as deduction. 13. Okay, so this is encouragement to company to start up or expansion the business. Okay, by way of additional employee, to appoint additional employee. So an additional employee is nothing but an employee who is newly employed during the previous year. Then who is not an additional employee? See, the following persons are appointed as employee. Even though they are appointed, they are not treated as additional employee. Point number 1. An employee whose total emolument exceeding rupees 25,000 per month. Exceed rupees 25,000 per month. Listen carefully. So exceeding rupees 25,000 per month. If it is exceeding 25,000 per month, then this section is not applicable. You cannot claim. So object of this section is very simple. You have to appoint workers. In factory, there are daily labor workers there. So to encourage very poor people, so you have to appoint very poor. So what you call layman. Okay, so if it is more than 25,000, means they are a little bit skilled. Okay, not only skilled, little bit educated. Definitely they are educated. If you are getting more than 25,000 per month, definitely they are educated. Okay, so an employee is emolument less than 25,000 cover under additional employee. Repeat. So additional employee is nothing but employee newly employed during the previous year. But the following employee are not treated as additional employee. Number 1, an employee emoluments exceed rupees 25,000 per month. Number 2, an employee employed for a period of less than 240 days during the previous year. That is, employee working in a company but less than 240 days in a year, then the particular you have to exclude that particular person. Repeat. If say set of people, say total 100 employees employed, out of 100, 60 employees working less than 240 days, 40 employees more than 240 days. So at the time for calculation of say what is the definition of additional employee, not 100, it covers only 40. Repeat, total 100 employee. Example, total 100 employee employed during the previous year. Out of 100, 60 employee works less than 240 days. They are working as less than 240 days. Thereby the 60 is excluded. Okay. Working less than 240 days. Working less than 240 days. Okay. Suppose these 40 workers working more than 240 days. Then again we split into 2. 20 workers monthly emolument or monthly salary, say 26,000. Say 26,000. These 20 they are getting as 16,000. So for the purpose of definition of additional employee, out of 100, 60 not applicable. Reason, they are working less than 240 days. You have to exclude. Rest of 40 employee works more than 240 days. Okay, but out of 40, 20 employee, their remuneration is more than 25,000, 26,000 per month. 26,000 per month. They are also not eligible. So out of 100, only 20 employee treated as additional employee for this purpose. For example, see 240 days But in case of employee or assessee engaged in the business of manufacturing of apparel or footwear or leather product, instead of 240 days, 150 days. Repeat once again the same point. An employee employed for a period of less than 240 days during the previous year, bracket open, 150 days in case of assessee engaged in the business of manufacturing of apparel or footwear or leather product. So in case of this product, apparel, footwear, leather product, instead of 240, if it is less than 150 days, see, apparel, footwear, leather, less than 150 days. If it is more than 150 days, regular employee. If it is less than 150 days, not to be taken into account. For the definition of additional employee, listen carefully. Additional. What is additional employee? An employee who is newly employed to the previous year. Okay. Who is not additional employee? Even though they are appointed newly, but they are not treated as additional employee because case 1. If the remuneration is or salary is more than 25,000 per month, then you have to exclude. Then an employee working less than 240 days or 150 as the case may be, then that person also you have to exclude. And third one, an employee who does not participate, repeat, an employee who does not participate in the recognized provident fund. Okay, not participate recognized provident fund, not participate in recognized provident fund. So if these three you have to exclude. More than 20,000 per month getting emoluments or salary, working less than 240 days or 150 as the case may be, and employee not participating in the recognized provident fund. These three you have to exclude. So these are the employees are not treated as additional employee. Repeat, these are the employee are not treated as additional employee. Next, additional employee cost. AEC, additional employee cost. Additional employee cost is nothing but total emoluments paid. Listen carefully. Total emoluments paid are payable to additional employee. To additional employee. So total salary received by the additional employee during the previous year. That is additional employee cost. For that cost, into 30% you can claim as deduction under section 80 JJAA. Conditions, very important conditions. Emoluments should not be paid in cash. Should not be paid in cash. That is, you are paying salary not by way of cash. You have to transfer, or you give just check or net transfer. So do not pay by way of cash. Suppose if you pay in cash, you have to exclude. You have to exclude. However, repeat. However, in case of first year of new business, the emoluments may be paid in cash. Repeat. Generally, emoluments should not be paid in cash. However, in case the first year of commencement of business, emoluments may be paid in cash. So first year exception. Second and subsequent years, you should not pay by cash. You have to pay only other than cash. Any mode other than cash. This is section 80 JJAA. Any doubt? Make a note. Next section 80 QQB, deduction in respect of royalty income of authors. Royalty income of authors to whom available resident individual. Conditions should be a book of literary, artistic or scientific nature. Income is derived by way of royalty or copyright fee. Either royalty or copyright fee. These are two conditions. You have to write the author of book, okay, of literary, artistic or scientific nature. Okay, and another condition is income derived by way of royalty or copyright fee. Amount of deductions if received by lump sum means bulk. if received by lump sum, then royalty income or rupees 3 lakhs, whichever is less. Repeat, royalty income or rupees 3 lakhs, whichever is less. Suppose if it is, this is received by lump sum. Suppose if it is not received by lump sum, then royalty income of 3 lakhs, whichever is same, provided. Listen carefully. Royalty income not to exceed 15% of value of books sold before allowing expenses. Not to exceed 15% of value of books sold before allowing expenses, or rupees 3 lakhs, whichever is less. Whichever is less. This is section 80 QQB. Next section 80 RRB. This is QQB, this is RRB. Deduction in respect of royalty income on patents. Okay. So to whom available? Again, resident individual. Conditions: owner or co-owner of a patent. Number 2, patent should be registered under the Patents Act 1970. You have to register the patent. Amount of deduction is very simple. 100% of royalty income or rupees 3 lakhs, whichever is less. See, 80 QQB or 80 RRB, amount of deduction is same. Amount royalty income or rupees 3 lakhs, whichever is less. That's all. 80 RRB, and one more and 3 more sections: 80 TTA, TTB, and 80U. Come on, note it down quick.